Welcome to this video, guys. We are going to be doing a step-by-step tutorial on how to start your first TikTok shop. Let's get right into it. First thing you're going to do is, of course, come and start the process of creating a TikTok shop. So simply put in your email. I'd recommend making a new Gmail account for your business just to keep everything separate and organized. All right, this is the first part of this. So if you are an individual, of course, you're going to want to select individual. If you do have an LLC, you're going to want to select the sole proprietorship. I always recommend going for an LLC. They're usually pretty cheap to start. The reason I like to use an LLC is because you're protecting yourself from any lawsuits. That is basically what a limited liability company does. It limits your liability. So if I start selling as an individual, somebody takes my product, slips on it, gets hurt, right? They can sue me and they can sue all of my personal assets. Whereas if I have an LLC, they can only sue my business assets. They can't take my car, they can't take anything in my personal name, they can only take business assets. So it helps shield you from lawsuits and potential issues. So I always recommend starting an LLC. And that way as well, you can get a business bank account and you can start building your business credit. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all this in for my business and be right back. Once you fill out your business information, you'll come to this page where you can put in the primary representative information. So if you have no partners, this will just be for you. You'll be putting in your name, your address, and the last 4 digits of your social security number, as well as uploading your ID. So we'll jump right back once we've done that. All right, once we've submitted all of our business information and personal information, now it's time to name the shop. You can always change this later, so don't worry about it too much. Now for your primary product, I'd always recommend choosing something that isn't going to get flagged for review by TikTok. So choose something simple. I would recommend not doing a electronics, or even if you're going to sell that kind of stuff, that stuff is typically going to be harder to get approved for. So you want to choose something that's going to get approved very, very quickly. Something like menswear and underwear. We'll put in our phone number. Your documents are under review. Get the results by email. This is usually really, really quick. All right, it is a few days later. It's now Sunday. We tried submitting for the first time on Friday. We got denied a few times, but finally we got approved. If you do get denied like I did, it can usually be due to just an address issue. That was the case for me, at least. I changed addresses recently, so the address that they were getting wasn't matching up with what I was putting in. So if that happens, just keep submitting the same information, and eventually it'll ask you for your EIN certificate that you get from the IRS. And every time I've submitted that, I've had no issue. So once you're in, you're going to go ahead and add your tax information. That's the first thing you're going to do right here. And then once that is done, you are going to set up your shipping and warehouse information. So the first thing you need to do is you need to add a warehouse. I already added mine in right here with my address and phone number. So if you are using your own place as your warehouse where you're going to be shipping out goods, you'll use your own address. If you're using a third-party logistics company or fulfilled by TikTok, you will put in that address. And once that is done, we will go ahead and we'll do our shipping options. So I'm going to be using TikTok shipping on this account because I'm going to be warehousing here at my place, and then I'm going to be shipping out directly through the TikTok shipping, which allows me to buy labels directly through TikTok. So I don't have to go through ShipStation or import and export orders. If you are using a 3PL, you'll likely want to use seller shipping. This is where you will get the address from TikTok of the customer, and then you'll give that to your 3PL. They'll buy the shipping from whichever carrier they'd like to use, and then they'll give you a tracking number for you to input into TikTok. So there's different situations require different things, but for me personally, I'm shipping them out myself. TikTok shipping is just going to make it easier for me. All right, before we get into building the product, I just want to go in and briefly go over a few things. So you see up here, I now have my shop logo. I want to show you how to do that really briefly. You'll come up here to profile, seller information, and you'll upload that right here. A lot of people forget this step, and then on their shop tab, whenever a customer is looking at buying one of their products, it'll just have that generic shop logo, which I think just looks really, really crappy. So I'd always recommend just uploading your logo here. It takes 2 seconds. Now let's just briefly go over some of the tabs you see here on the right-hand side. The important ones are, first of all, marketing. This is where you're going to link your shop, your advertising account, where basically if you want to create promotions with affiliate videos, you're going to do this tab. That won't really come into play until you start picking up some traction with those videos. You'll also have your promotions tab. This is where you're going to be able to create product discounts, buy more, save more, shipping fee discounts, all this good stuff. I always recommend having a discount running on your product. So let's say you want to sell your product for $30. Instead of just listing your product for $30, I'd recommend listing it for $40, coming in here and creating a product discount down to $30, just so that customer feels like they're getting a better deal when they're checking out. Your shop page, you can customize this a little bit. It's not really super important. Campaigns is super, super important. Whenever you see campaigns here, typically they are TikTok offering discounts for a certain period of time. So for example, this one's a Memorial Day campaign. This one isn't super great because it's just live stream and short video. A lot of the time they'll just have a general campaign. And what that means is you can register your product. Let's say they have one for July 4th maybe. You'll register your product for that and they will fund a discount for your product on top of whatever you offer. So let's say your product is $30. They might discount it down to $20 and cover that $10 difference for you. So the customer will pay $20, but you'll still get that full $30. That's what's so crazy about the platform right now is so many customers are getting discounts left, right, and center, and TikTok is picking up the tab. So always make sure you are checking this page constantly. The affiliates tab is super, super important. This is a whole different page and site. There's a lot to go over here, so we're going to go over all this in a separate video where we kind of break down all the strategies I use to get the best affiliates. But we're going to do that in a separate video, so if you do want that, stick around and we will have that come. Lives and videos, not super important. You'll be able to see all your shoppable videos here, get inspiration, and then if you do live streams can be super, super powerful. Especially if you're in apparel or if you have lower ticket offers, they can be super powerful and you can move a ton of units with these. If you are going to do that, I would recommend using the Live Manager and getting to know this software right here. Growth, again, not super important. This is basically if you want to link it to your Shopify thing, you can link it this. You can pull up all the apps and stuff here. Other than that, there's not much in there. And same with TikTok Shop partners. This is going to be people who basically offer services to TikTok Shop sellers. Analytics, goes without saying, you'll be able to see all of your numbers here, your sales data. The shop health is the next really, really important tab, basically. So you want to be constantly managing this and making sure you are not getting violations. And if you are getting violations, you need to deal with them quickly and make sure you're appealing them as well. So this, you'll see shop violations, product violations, cancellation rates. So this is basically just an overview of how are you performing on TikTok Shop. And if you start to get violations and you start to creep up into the 12, 24, 36 violation points as you see here, you'll start to get suspensions of some sort. So this one will be if you hit 12 violation points, for example, you'll get a suspension of new campaign registration. So you won't be able to join those TikTok Shop campaigns. These can be really, really detrimental. So I would highly recommend really, really staying on top of this page. And then we have the shop performance score. This is equally important as this is going to determine how much TikTok Shop pushes your products. So this will be on a scale of 1 to 5. If you are a 5, you're doing really, really good. You're fulfilling orders on time. You're dealing with customer service on time. And customers are loving your product. If you're at a 1, it's the opposite, right? Customers are not liking your product. They're giving you negative reviews. You're not messaging them back in the customer chat up here. And if you have a lower score, not only will you not be able to get payments as fast, they won't actually push your products. So instead of being on page 1, you might drop down to page 3 of the search results for the keywords you're trying to rank for. So this can be really, really detrimental to your business if you're not constantly on top of any problems that might come up. That is about it. Obviously, you have your finances here. You'll link your bank account. This is where you'll manage all your payouts, and you'll also be able to get your 1099K forms for when you're doing your taxes. Other than that, there's not a ton else. So let's just jump into actually creating our first product. Now, one thing I always recommend doing before you send payment for your first test order is coming into the Manage Products page and actually creating that listing. Even though you don't have it yet, you want to create it in here because you may get errors or you may get a certification notification where you need a certain certification that you can then ask your supplier for. And maybe they don't have that. Maybe they don't have that certification. And if you've already sent payment, then you're stuck in a position where you're scrambling to get that certification and you don't know what to do. Whereas if you've already created the listing before you send payment, you know you need that certification, you can find the supplier who has that before sending payment and getting stuck in a tricky situation. And then also, some listings will just get flagged for no reason. So you always want to create the listing, let it sit there for a week, and that way you will know, okay, this listing's good to go. If it's still live at the end of the week, I know I'm not going to have any problems when I actually launch. I digress. Let's get started. Let's hit add new product. And this is a pimple patch brand. So I'm going to upload a file really quickly. I'm just going to upload a mock-up of my box. And then I'm going to add, once you add what the product is in the title, typically the category will auto-populate. There's 140 per box. Acne treatments. So as you can see, you need to upload product certificates to list a product in this category. For example, drug facts. So this is what I mean about the certifications. I might not have known this prior. Luckily, I'd already gone through this process on a different account, but I might not have known that. And then I'm sitting here scrambling to get those certifications, right? Where now I've done it before I've sent payment and I'm able to go to my supplier and say, hey, do you have these things? If not, we're not gonna be able to work together. So that's always gonna make it easier. So right here, if you can't, of course, you're not gonna be able to find your brand, just add a new brand. Country of origin, for me, it's China. Volume, I don't have this yet because it's not volumetric. So some of these categories won't be really needed for your product, even though they're there. So volume, for instance, the volume of a pimple patch doesn't matter, but it's acne treatment, so it probably thinks it's a bottle of something. So we'll just add our random numbers right now, because it's not going to really matter. We are the manufacturer. So we'll add that. And then the ingredients list, we just have one ingredient, which is hydrocolloid. Perfect. Product description. Now, one thing I always recommend when doing the product descriptions is really focus on it being sales copy. You do not want it to be too wordy. You want to focus, of course, always on getting those keywords in there for what you're trying to rank for. So for example, I'm trying to rank for pimple patch or blemish patch, all of these keywords. And I'll go over in another video actually creating a list of keywords that you want to slide into your product description and kind of how I do the whole product description process. You know what, let's just do it now. Let's just do it now. Screw another video. So for finding out what kind of keywords I want to use in my description and title, there's no way to actually do research for TikTok itself. With that being said, typically the customers on TikTok and Amazon, the behavior of those customers is going to be very similar. So if a keyword is trending, has a high search volume on Amazon, I'm going to assume that people are searching for that same keyword on TikTok. So I do all my keyword research on Amazon for TikTok as well. So the first thing you'll do is you'll come over to this website, helium10.com. I have an affiliate link I'll share in the video description. So once you create a username and password, we will come here, maybe later. Okay, so we'll come over here and we'll go Cerebro. That's the tool we'll be using. Then we'll go onto Amazon.com. Sorry, I missed a step there. One thing you'll need to do before you start doing your research is download the Chrome extension for Helium 10. So just search up Helium 10 Chrome extension. You'll download this, and then once it's downloaded, you'll pin it up here to Chrome. Once on Amazon, we'll just search for our main keyword, that what we think it's going to be. Okay, so let's find a few examples of top sellers. So right here we see 100,000 of these sold in the last month, 20K of these sold, 10K of these sold, 100,000 here, that's the same one. Here we got 30,000 sold, 20,000 sold, that's the same, 30,000 sold. So that should be enough. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 listings here. That is the perfect amount. You will get 5 free launches to X-ray keywords, basically. So essentially all you'll do is you'll get 5 different products instead of 6. You'll pick 5 listings in your niche. You'll come here, X-ray keywords. There we go. And then you can sort by search volume. Then we can actually go ahead and export this data, export it as a CSV file, download that one. We'll download this one as well. Export CSV. And we'll do that to all these and then be right back. All right, I just finished downloading them all. Now we're going to create a new workbook on Excel. You can also use, of course, you can just use Google Sheets if you don't have access to Excel. And then we are going to pull all this data into Excel and put it on the same sheet. Okay, now once you have all the files, all 5 of them copied and pasted onto the same sheet like I do here, we're just going to go ahead and clean up this data a little bit. So the column B, Cerebro IQ score, we can go ahead and delete that. Search volume, suggested PPC, keyword scale, all of these we can go ahead and delete. All we care about is the actual keyword and the search volume of that keyword. Now, of course, since these are all coming from similar products, a lot of the keywords are going to be the same. So for example, you see pimple patches here, you see pimple patches here. We're going to have a ton of duplicates. So the next thing we need to do is get rid of all these duplicates. So to do that, simply select everything, come up here to data, and remove duplicates. 293 duplicates were found, and we have 283 left. So next thing we need to do, let's go ahead and we're going to sort this all by search volume. So sort by column, we will go column B, and we will go largest to smallest. Okay, there we go. Now we have a list in descending order of all the keywords we need to use by search volume. So we only really want about 30 of these. So anything down here, we can go ahead and we're just going to delete these, anything below 30. And then we can kind of start filtering these by anything that doesn't actually relate to our product. So limited time deal a day does not relate. Facial skincare product goods, it patches, good. We do not have that in our product. Hero is a brand name, get rid of that. That is a brand name. Skin tag removal kit, not a product. Glossier, not a product. Not a product. Okay, just gonna filter these a little bit more. Okay, now we have a list of probably about 15 really solid keywords for our product. So now what I always like to do, take these and we're gonna go tried and true. I'm gonna show you a ChatGPT prompt that'll get you to write a really good description for you. Okay, so here is the prompt I'm gonna give ChatGPT. So as a storytelling and sales copy expert, I wanted to write a product description for my new pimple patch brand. I want to tell ChatGPT who is my target consumer, which is a 19 to 29-year-old girls who are confident and outgoing. Then I want to tell it the problem we're solving. So what are the benefits of the product? Now I also want to give it all of the keywords I would like it to intertwine throughout my product description, and then give it the goal. What's the goal of this sales copy? Which is to demonstrate the benefits. You never want to list the features of a product. And the next thing, you always want to have it have a call to action at the end. In terms of the formatting, it can be 500 characters, and after every 2 to 3 sentences, we're going to feature a photo of the product. So we'll hit enter, and we'll see what that gives us. Okay, it looks like we still had lightning deals of the day prime in there, so I'll put that in the copy. So we're just going to run this again without that. So this is much better. We're going to go ahead and copy this over, and then we'll trim it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go through and edit this. Okay, and then always use bold of the benefits. And this will be an insert. We'll put our product photos in here once we have them. Boom. Okay, so obviously we'll come through again once we have our product photography done, which will be in a couple weeks here, and then we'll add those photos in between each piece of sales copy. Okay, so now we will put in our UPC code. So if you don't know what a UPC code, that's basically going to be a general identifier for your product. For example, this microphone has a UPC code right here. This code is going to be unique to just this product. So if you need to buy one of those, I will recommend a site that I've used in the past called Barcodes Mania, that I've purchased UPC codes, but you'll want to give your product a UPC code and then you'll put in the SKU. And the SKU is going to be a personal identifier for this product. So I'll show you an example for what I'm going to use for this. Okay, I've filled this in and I'm going to give you some more context on my seller SKU. So this is going to stand for pimple patches right here. 126 is the unit count per box. And then at the end, it is what style of pimple patch is in each box. So in this one, I have stars, hearts, and flowers. So if I ever do a pimple patch with 150 in them and just flowers, I can change this accordingly and instantly know when I look at that SKU what the product is. So next thing you're going to do is just fill in the product weight and dimensions of the box. Okay, once the shipping is in, I just went ahead and uploaded my labeling, which for me was just the back of the box, which includes the ingredients and instructions on how to use. So once that is all done, you can go ahead and submit it for review. And then you'll see it come up once you refresh under the reviewing tab. And then hopefully in a few minutes, it'll come back approved and we won't have any problems. It's been literally 10 seconds. And as you can see, our product is live. We can come over here. We can preview how it actually looks on TikTok Shop. And of course, it's not nearly done yet, but at least it's up and it didn't get flagged for anything. I think we're done with this video. I think that goes over basically everything I wanted to share with you guys about creating your product listing on the platform. So if you need any help with this process, feel free to shoot me a DM, but I think that generally should be a pretty comprehensive guide for you to be able to create your first product. When you do create your first listing, send it over to me. I'd love to review it and give you some notes. I totally forgot to go over the product title. So I just came back into ChatGPT where I gave it this prompt for the description. And I basically just came and said, please follow the same guidelines in terms of the copywriting and storytelling and generate me a product title for the pimple patches. I gave it a little bit more about what exactly the product is. And it gave me this result, which is a solid name. Now, it just wasn't long enough and didn't have enough keywords. Same with the description as the title. You want to really blast in as many keywords as you can get in there. Most of them will be below the fold. So when you're actually on TikTok Shop, there will be the main keywords of, I don't know how many characters it is, and then there'll be 3 dots and then a bunch more keywords. So anything after those 3 dots will still rank you for those search terms, but the customers aren't really going to look at it. So it's okay to just kind of throw in a bunch of keywords in there. I'll show you on screen what exactly I mean by that. But we're going to go ahead and put this into our TikTok Shop listing. All right, and that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next up on my list is to do the video for the affiliates and doing a comprehensive breakdown on that next. But for now, I think this puts you in a really good position to get started on TikTok Shop. And also in the pipeline is a full video breaking down how I find all of my winning products. I already put a checklist into the group, but coming soon is going to be that video breakdown.